Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a seriously controversial, widely discussed text all about human psychology, strategy, and honestly, the raw dynamics of power. Whether you're trying to navigate office politics or just want a better read on human behavior, the source material we're looking at today pulls absolutely no punches. It outlines these specific, highly calculated laws designed to give a person ultimate leverage over others. We're going to start right at the beginning with the source material's incredibly bold opening claim that these laws are so dangerous they've actually been banned in several countries. The author argues that these psychological tactics are incredibly potent, so much so that they can make anyone dangerously powerful if they aren't careful. The whole premise is that if you don't understand these rules, well, you're probably being manipulated by someone who does. Now, our goal today isn't to judge these laws. We're just here to impartially unpack exactly what they are and how the text claims they work out there in the real world. Now, going through 48 individual laws one by one would be a total marathon. So to make this incredibly efficient for you, we've synthesized the core teachings into four main pillars: mastering your image, strategic alliances and enemies, the art of psychological control, and finally, the ultimate law, adaptability. Starting off with pillar number one, mastering your image. A massive chunk of the source text argues a simple yet profound idea, that perception dictates reality. Basically, how people see you is exactly how they're going to treat you. Look weak and you get treated poorly. Look powerful and doors just suddenly open. And this brilliantly illustrates Law 4. The source argues that talking too much totally exposes your average qualities. Think about it. When you speak constantly, you inevitably say something kind of foolish, or you just seem, well, common. But speaking less than necessary, that creates mystery. Your silence actually makes people project their own thoughts onto you, and it practically demands respect. People just naturally assume that a quiet person is deep and calculating. Building on that whole image concept, we've got three foundational laws here. Law 1 warns you to never outshine the master. If you make your boss feel insecure by constantly showing off your brilliant talents, they're going to quietly work to destroy you. You've got to soothe their ego instead. Next up is Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The text basically says that sharing your true goals only breeds jealousy and gives people a roadmap to sabotage you. You got to keep your plans private. And finally, Law 5. Fiercely guard your reputation. If your reputation gets stained, people just won't value you. It is literally the cornerstone of your power. Another really fascinating tactic for managing your image is Law 16, which is all about using absence to increase respect and value. The source material highlights this major quirk of human curiosity. We completely take for granted what's always right in front of us. If you're constantly available, always in the room, your perceived value actually drops. But with tactically withdrawing and just being absent from certain situations, people start talking about you more. They wonder where you went, and magically your status and respect level shoot up. Wrapping up this first pillar is a concept that's essentially social camouflage, found in Law 38. The advice here is to act like the crowd outwardly, but secretly maintain your own independent thoughts. The text issues this pretty dark warning. If you try way too hard to look unique or flaunt your unorthodox ideas early on, people get jealous and they'll try to tear you down. The play here is to blend in initially, to survive, all while you're quietly building your power behind the scenes. Let's move to and see how this builds into our second pillar, strategic alliances and enemies. This is where the source provides some of its most counterintuitive and frankly, deeply cynical advice on how to manage your relationships. Let's break down Law 2. The text argues that friends are actually highly dangerous to your power. Sounds crazy, right? But the logic is that they know your secrets, and envy can quickly turn them against you when you least expect it. The recommended action is to keep your crucial secrets hidden, even from them. Enemies, on the other hand, are viewed as incredibly useful. The argument is that an enemy has something to prove. If you defeat them and then show mercy by giving them a job, they're going to be vastly more loyal than a friend, just out of pure gratitude. Make them work for you. Then there's this severe warning in Law 10 about the company you keep. Avoid the unlucky and unhappy. The text argues that chronically negative or quote-unquote unlucky people are essentially infectious. If you try to play savior, they'll simply drain your energy and drag you right down with them. The strategy here is strict self-preservation. You've got to cut ties with people who are constantly sinking, or you're going to drown right alongside them. So the crucial point here is that alliances are entirely tactical. Look at Law 14. It suggests you gather data by posing as a friend, but you're actually listening like a spy to discover people's weaknesses. Then there's Law 15, which is probably the most ruthless one yet. crush your enemy totally. The idea is that if you leave them with even a shred of power, they will absolutely return for revenge. And finally, Law 19 advises extreme caution. You have to know exactly who you're dealing with. Never ever pick a fight with the wrong person, especially someone more powerful than you, or you risk total ruin. All right, moving on to pillar number 3, the art of psychological control. This takes things a step deeper, exploring how the source advises manipulating the needs and emotions of others to gain the upper hand. The text outlines a very specific, almost cult-like process for creating profound dependency, pulling from Laws 11 and 27. Step 1. Identify a person's deepest need or fantasy. Step 2. Offer them a solution, or basically present yourself as the dream they've been looking for. But here's the kicker. Step 3. You deliberately withhold just enough of that solution so they're never fully satisfied. This guarantees they have to keep returning to you, which effectively gives you total control and keeps them totally dependent on your approval. And when you're dealing with others, Law 9 makes it crystal clear. Winning through argument is a total waste of time. Arguments just breed resentment and put people on the defensive, right? You really don't change minds with words. Instead, the rule is to win through undeniable actions. When people actually see the results with their own eyes, they have no choice but to concede. And the best part? You maintain your position of power without creating all that lingering bitterness. The Machiavellian tactics definitely continue here. Law 7 outright advises getting others to do the hard work, but stepping in to take the credit yourself. It's super controversial, sure, but the text claims that is exactly how powerful leaders operate. Then, Law 12 suggests using selective honesty. Basically, you're highly truthful about one small thing, which completely disarms people and drops their guard so you can deceive them later. And Law 31 is all about controlling the options. Don't force people. Instead, give them a choice between two options where both choices secretly benefit you. To truly master this kind of psychological control, the source introduces Law 33, discover each person's thumbscrew. The premise here is that every single person has a hidden insecurity, a secret weakness, or some desperate need. If you observe them closely enough to figure out what that is, well, you've just found a powerful lever you can pull to manipulate them whenever necessary. Finally, we arrive at Pillar 4, the ultimate law, which is adaptability. The text makes it incredibly clear that all those previous laws will ultimately fail if you don't master being flexible. The world changes, and rigid power is easily broken. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's basically the climax of the entire book. Law 48 is all about formlessness. The text compares the ultimate wielder of power to water. If you have a fixed shape, a rigid strategy, or a predictable pattern, your enemies can easily figure you out and destroy you. True power comes from having no fixed shape at all. You have to constantly change and adapt to whatever the situation demands. Basically, predictability is weakness, and adaptability is ultimate power. So here's what that adaptability looks like in everyday practice. Law 25 says you have to constantly recreate yourself to match the shifting times. Don't ever get stuck in the past. Law 35 emphasizes mastering the art of timing. Knowing exactly when to act and when to react is what separates the masters from the amateurs. And Law 46, this is a brilliant piece of social adaptability. Never appear too perfect. If you seem flawless, people will despise you out of sheer envy. But by strategically displaying small, harmless flaws, you actually make yourself relatable, which turns out to be a far more stable form of power. Now, before we wrap up, it's absolutely crucial to highlight the explicit warning attached to this source material. The text completely acknowledges that these laws are incredibly potent and frankly ruthless. But the author's big caveat is that these psychological tools should be studied so you can protect yourself from those who would try to manipulate you. The whole intention is to give you a shield against malicious people, not a sword to intentionally go out and destroy others. Which brings us to the end of our explainer, and leaves us with a pretty thought-provoking question to ponder. If mastering these dark arts of psychology is truly necessary to survive in a hyper-competitive world, how do you balance the pursuit of power with the preservation of your own morality? It's a really complex line to walk. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep learning, and I'll see you on the next one.